All right, you guys, we are on site at the first house, and the landowner here, if you guys go back to the second video I ever published, it was on old Pete's farm. You come on down, Pete. And he wanted to show me a couple other places here. What's the story on this? I'll let you guys see. This is built about between 1910 and 1920, and because the earlier homes burned down, right?
Right.
Is that what happened?
Yes, 2 of them burned. This was the last one. This was the third house where a lot of the children, I think about 12 children was raised in here.
12 children. How many rooms is in that, Pete?
It's one big room upstairs and just kitchen and living room downstairs.
And 12 kids.
Yeah.
Well, there wasn't any privacy, was there?
No.
You know, Pete, you wonder why they selected this spot to build this house. I mean, it's right in the valley here.
Okay.
Where
I'll show you. Back here is the spring. Water. Big spring right up here that never goes dry. That was...
right there.
Yeah. But on up there where old cross thing, it needs a backhoe in there and dug out, but it never goes dry.
Pete, you don't need to come up here because this is slick. I just want to take a look at it. Yep, so it's a seep. It comes right out of the ground right here.
Yeah. You take a backhoe and dig that out, and it's a good spring there.
Wow. All right, you guys, I want to show you something. I'm going to show you something that Pete showed me. His wife's grandfather, when he hung up farming, and he passed away, you say in 1966?
Yes.
When he hung up his full-time job doing farming, one of the things he did was hang his scythe or sickle up in this tree. I'm going to let you look at this. It has been here since then. And he died in 66, so we don't know when he actually put that up there. It could have been back in the 50s, right? And this tree grew up right around this blade. You see that? Look at it. Right there where that old branch was. Pull you over here where the sun's not in your eyes. Look at that. Isn't that something? And old Pete said that he never bothered selling anything. He parked the
wagon down under a big maple tree there and just
let it sit.
It rotted up, fell apart right there, yeah.
So he parked a wagon down here underneath a maple tree, and it sat there until it rotted in the ground. I told Pete, of all places to build a house, here, right in this swale, this valley. Now, they built it here because they had access to good water right there in that spring. But I told Pete, I can't imagine the cold air, the frost that settle in these areas, and especially right there, and raise all these kids in that house right there. All right, you guys, we're inside the old house, and Pete showed me the name of all the children, and there are 12. Now, is Isaac and Emma the parents?
That's correct, yes.
And this is the names of their children, and all those children are raised right here in this house.
Right, yeah.
Right? Is that a wood stove?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's an old wood stove they cooked off
stove,
of.
Yeah, we'll take you to cook with.
Some old pots and pans.
Yeah.
Now, would this be the parents' room?
Probably was. I'm not sure.
And all the kids stayed upstairs.
Yeah. Yep.
That's the wall right there.
Yep. Yeah, going up there if you want to watch the steps. Come on in if you want.
All right, you guys. 1 bed, 2 bed, 3 bed, 4 bed, 5 bed. This is where they all slept. Boy, I can't imagine how cold it was up in here in the wintertime. No insulation in the walls?
Sawdust.
Sawdust.
Sawdust where it's sealed, but of course part of it wasn't sealed. Yeah.
Sawdust.
You have to use sawdust. All around here, it was sawdust down in between. Use that for insulation.
Well, can you imagine how cold it would be up here in the wintertime?
Yeah, but we leave the heat going down there and stuff, and it was warmer than you think up here.
There's your squirrel hole right there, Pete.
Yeah, Lord. Used to be a lot of flying squirrels in here.
Yeah, it's a nice, peaceful place. Quiet.
All the women used to come down here, my wife and stuff, when we was a lot younger. We used to come down, stay. My wife would stay and cook in here for us. Lord, we'd have all these beds full. Some of them was scared of the flying squirrels. One squirrel jumped down on the bed here one night with Becky, that was her name, and didn't excite her a bit. She just got a hold of him and just throwed him off like it was laid back down. You know, they'll play possum. I've had him run down through there, take a piece of iron or something and hit right behind him, just roll up, just lay there. Directly open up one eye and be looking around, directly up and away he'd go. yeah, they'll play possum right now.
All right, you guys, I'm with Nathan here, and we're going to go up to the original homesteads that were built 1800s, maybe even earlier. 2 generations of houses up there. Both had burned down. One burned down, the original house burned down. They built a new one on it back in the 1800s. It burned down, and they built this one instead. They built this one to replace that one. So we're going to go up there and take a look at them. You know, this is nothing but a rock garden, isn't it?
Yeah. I picked all these rocks out of this road last spring. Or something.
I mean, there's a million rocks in here. I was telling Pete, every stone had to be picked up by someone. And the labor of picking up a stone and putting it on a pallet for a horse to drag, or piling it. I mean, I can't even fathom the labor it took. And how dangerous. I mean, they didn't have like doctors and hospitals out in places like this. You hurt yourself and that was death. All right, you guys, I'm here with Pete and Nathan, and we are where the other house number 2, second generation house, right? First generation out there, yeah. Second here, and that one was the third. Right. So, I mean, it looks like a lawn.
Yeah, and here's where it was at. Used to be some of the old logs there, but they've all rotted up.
Right here?
Yeah.
So right here's where the house stood. Right here. But you know, I can see it looks like a foundation right over here.
Yeah.
Let's go take a look at this. Now, do they know what caused the fire?
No, I don't know what it was. Probably a wood stove, but I'm not sure.
A wood stove, or you know, the lantern. They had those oil lamps that fall over, and you know. So I don't know if you guys can see, there's a wall right there. Went that way. You can almost see the outline of the cabin right here and right here. You know, this is a very, very nice location.
Oh yeah.
Now I wonder where the spring was for this house. They may have had a cistern.
It's a spring right out here down through. A couple hundred yards up through there. But this is a better place than where the house is now, as far as I know.
Yeah, that's what I told Nathan. I said, Nathan, I don't know why they moved the house down there. Yeah. This is a much nicer spot. I would have cleaned that out and rebuilt right there. You can see an old fruit tree right there. Is that an old fruit tree?
Yeah.
Looks like an old fruit tree.
Way I understood it, all of this was like an orchard up through here 100 years ago.
Yeah, there's an apple tree right here, or a fruit tree. There's a number of fruit trees right here, Pete. Now, are there any tombstones up here?
I don't know where that takes place. Out there's some slaves buried out here.
Yep. That's what I told Nathan. I said, you know, these old pioneers, the women would, their children would die in stillbirth, or they'd die giving birth, and or even some of the simplest accidents would be a death sentence because they didn't have doctors or hospitals nearby. This is real nice. I mean, this is a real nice spot.
Old yellow pine tree. Right there. There's where the hog pen was. Father-in-law said right there where that was at.
Right there, that big pine.
Yeah, big pine. That was their hog pen where they kept the hogs.
The hog pen set right in here somewhere. Right here's the tree. It's huge. It's probably about 24 inches in diameter. There's a pile of rocks right there. Looks like there's maybe a wall, a stone wall right here. You guys probably can't see it as well as I can. It's right through here. It looks like these barberry bushes were actually planted in here versus coming in here wild. They're in rows. I don't know if you guys can see, there's a row of barberry bushes right there and right here. And eventually those will take over this field. They'll take over. All right. Man, this is gorgeous. Look down through there. Isn't that beautiful? This is a beautiful spot. I'm here with Pete and Nathan, and we are at the first generation home site. We don't know when this one was built, right?
No, I
have no idea. He said he was told by, was it grandfather?
My father-in-law.
Father-in-law, that there are some slave graves down here below us. And there's rock piles down there, so it could have been. I mean, it could be underneath one of those. There's lots of rock piles, though. I see there's one straight down there. There's one right over there. There's one right there. There's one right here. And there's one right here, a big one right here. And the biggest rock pile is actually right here. Yeah, this is a huge pile.
Around in here's where the house stood.
Well, you know, it could have. It looks like. I mean, this has definitely been shelved off right here. Yeah. I mean, it's dug out right there, and then it goes that way there. So this has all been cleared out here, Pete. There's a dogwood tree right there. I'll point it out to you. It's right there. That's dogwood. Sometimes you'd see dogwoods with old homesteads. One of those flowering trees. But there is, right here, Pete, I see cut rock. Yeah, I think this is it. I don't know if you guys can see. There is a cut rock right there. I'd say it's right here. Right here it is. This is where it's at. All right, you guys, there's a wall right here. Goes back this way. Can you see that? Can you see that? And then it goes that way right there, and there's a cornerstone right there. So this is the yard out here, He said the slaves were buried out in here somewhere. Out here, all but time forgotten now. This is the volume of water that actually comes out of the spring, and probably the primary reason they built right there, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Because they needed a reliable source of water. So this is the volume of water coming out. Now, it may not look all that much to you, but I mean, it's got a pretty good stream on there. All right, you guys, I'm going to end the video here. This is where we began our trip. I wanted to point out a couple things, though, that seemed a little interesting to me. You know, those houses that we looked at are way just really up on the mountain here. Very, very rugged. And you wonder why they built up on that mountain there with all this beautiful farmland down here. Now, all of this went with the same farm. So a lot of times they would do that. They would leave the best possible land where they could farm. And down here, they had orchards. And there were a lot of orchards, a lot of fruit trees. And there are still some remnants of those fruit trees. An apple tree that stood out here. So he was up in the tree, fell out, broke his back.
Picking apples.
He was up there picking apples. And then his son that had to quit school and to help support the family by taking over and doing the farm.
Boyd was his name.
So this is where it happened. Right here. And right up there where we just were is where the actual house stood. All right, you guys, thanks for joining us on this episode. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Oh, that's awesome. Pioneer lid right there. Went on an old kettle pot. It is right there.